From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Malacañang on Monday assured the public that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has purged the 2025 national budget of unnecessary items and aligned it with national priorities. The palace issued the statement after the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, criticized the budget for its supposed emphasis on financial assistance programs, which they claimed foster corruption and patronage politics, particularly in the lead-up to the midterm elections. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said the President had taken significant steps to ensure the 2025 budget is free of unnecessary expenditures, having directly vetoed the largest amount of appropriations in history. Bersamin pointed out that the chief executive had redirected billions of pesos toward projects that create tangible social benefits, promote progress, and directly serve the welfare of the people. To address concerns over the release of funds, the palace official outlined that stricter conditionalities are now in place, ensuring alignment with national priorities and protection against partisan interests. Bersamin added that the government recognizes the sacrifices made by the Filipino people in financing the budget and that the implementation of the budget will honor those sacrifices. President Marcos signed the 2025 General Appropriations Act, or GAA, on December 30th, 2024 and vetoed 194 billion pesos in line items he deemed inconsistent with his administration's priorities. This includes some 26 billion pesos for programs and projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, and 168 billion pesos in unprogrammed appropriations. Meanwhile, 12 programs, including the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD's Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita program, or AKAP, were subjected to conditional implementation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Malacañang said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will not intervene in the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte amid claims that the chief executive is responsible for delays in the process. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin emphasized that the power to initiate and act on impeachment complaints is solely within the authority of the House of Representatives. Bersamin said the President respects the authority of Congress as a co-equal branch of government. President Marcos previously discouraged lawmakers from pursuing Duterte's impeachment, noting that it would be counterproductive and is just a waste of time. Vice President Duterte faces 3 impeachment complaints over alleged misconduct and misuse of millions of government funds when she served as Education Secretary. Lawmakers have yet to tackle these complaints just days before Congress adjourns next week before the May midterm elections.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday vowed to intensify efforts against tax fraud, stressing those who exploit the system will be held accountable. President Marcos made the remarks as he led the launching of the 2025 National Tax Campaign, encouraging Filipinos to fulfill their tax responsibilities for the nation's development. The ceremony was in observance of the National Tax Awareness Month. In his speech, the President hailed the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, for its record-breaking collection in 2024, which surpassed 2.85 trillion pesos, marking the first time in 20 years that the agency met its target. The figure represents a significant increase from the 2.52 trillion pesos collected in 2023. The chief executive noted that the taxes collected in 2024 could fund over 1 million new schools, 190,000 kilometers of roads, and 167,000 rural health facilities. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
My fellow Filipinos, as the month of April looms, we stand at the threshold of another opportunity to define our country's path. We are here today to launch the 2025 National Tax Campaign, a call to conscience and duty as citizens of this great nation. 2 years ago, I stood before you at this same event, calling for the same commitment to pay what is due and recognize that in every peso that we paid lies the future that we make. And you, the Filipino people, have answered that call. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased and proud to announce that the Bureau of Internal Revenue met its collection target for the first time in 20 years. I know that you have heard that before, but we choose to repeat it because it is a very big achievement. In 2024, the Bureau collected more than 2.85 trillion pesos, which is higher than the 2.52 trillion pesos that we collected in 2023. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin nito sa ating mga kababayan? Ang buwis ng ating inihulog noong nakaraang taon ay katumbas ng lagpas na 1 milyong bagong paaralan, 190,000 kilometro ng kalsada, o di naman ay 167,000 rural health facility. Ngayong araw na ito, muli kaming nananawagan sa ating mga kababayan at magpapaalala sa pagpapabayad ng tamang buwis. The BIR has implemented several efforts to strengthen its collections. It includes the widening of the tax base through simplified key processes and documentary requirements, as well as the digitalization of the tax system. These efforts have resulted in more than 74,000 new establishments being registered in the last year, totaling close to 5.7 million registered business taxpayers. Ang pagdami ng mga namumuhunan na nagbabayad ng tamang buwis ay hindi lamang nagbibigay ng dagdag na koleksyon para mapondohan ang mga proyekto ng pamahalaan, ngunit nagbibigay din ng pagkakataon para sa ating mga kababayan na mabigyan ng hanap buhay. Ang bawat mamamayang sumusunod sa tamang pagbayad ng buwis ay nagiging bahagi sa ating pag-unlad. But the BIR has also proactively enforced compliance to our tax laws. More than 307,000 establishments were visited and verified by the BIR, resulting in 257 million pesos recovered through such compliance checks. The fight against tax fraud is also making significant progress. The run after fake transactions led to the filing of cases against ghost sellers and buyers and the collection of more than 4.3 billion pesos, a significant jump from the more than 600 million pesos collected in 2023. Meanwhile, crackdowns on illicit trade in cigarettes, vapes, and other excisable goods led to the collection of more than 110 million pesos last year. I've said this before. We will hold those who continue to circumvent our system accountable. Apart from enforcement, though, the BIR has embraced digital transformation to streamline compliance and reduce corruption risks. For instance, the Digital Transformation Program has revolutionized taxpayer services. The online registration and update system, or ORUS, is a game changer. This streamlined book registration, updated employee information, and processed transfers much more quickly while documents were released promptly. What this means is tax compliance is now more convenient for businesses, allowing them to focus on their business's growth and their productivity. That is the modernization we aim for in a tax system that truly serves the people. Furthermore, the implementation of digital TIN IDs has improved security and convenience for taxpayers. This allows taxpayers to access a valid ID from anywhere. This means less physical visits and paperwork for our taxpayers. The electronic one-time transaction system has made processing and issuing electronic certificate authorizing registration easier. This results in less hassle, faster approvals, and a more seamless experience for our taxpayers. And this means that our people can use their precious time to do other endeavors and be more productive elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, as we observe the National Tax Awareness Month this February, we are here to be reminded that every honest contribution fuels something far more significant than just ourselves. And I say this with hope and with sternness. Hope that we all see the value in contributing to our country, and that the law will deal sternly against those who exploit the system unfairly. To the BRR, your mandate is clear. Be watchful. Be guardians of a system that ensures that every peso that is collected is channeled into programs that serve our people. Sa ating mga kababayan, sa bawat buwis ng ating tapat na binabayaran, tayo ay hindi lamang nag-aambag sa kaban ng bayan, tayo rin ay nagtatayo ng isang maunlad na Pilipinas. Dapat nating ipagmalaki ang ating ambag, sapagkat ito ay siyang nagbibigay buhay sa ating bansa. Makakaasa po kayo na mahigpit natin babantayan ang paggugol sa pondo ng bayan. Sisiguruhin natin na ang ating pondo ay magbubunga ng mga proyektong ikabubuti ng ating bansa at ikauunlad ng bawat isang Pilipino. Kaya't gampanan natin ang ating tungkulin. Dahil naniniwala tayo na kung tayo ay mamumuhunan sa isa't isa, mas magiging malapit tayo sa ating inaasam na bansa para sa kasalukuyan at sa mga susunod na henerasyon.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Tuesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. appointed Dr. Edwin Mercado as the new President and Chief Executive Officer or CEO of the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth. Dr. Mercado took his oath before the President in Malacañang on Tuesday morning. A United States-trained orthopedic surgeon with 35 years of experience in hospital management, Mercado replaced Emmanuel Ledesma Jr. as head of the state insurer. Mercado has been the vice president of the Mercado General Hospital Qualimed Health Network since March of 2021. A Doctor of Medicine graduate of the University of the Philippines in 1987, Mercado completed his Master of Medical Sciences in Global Health Delivery from Harvard Medical School in 2023. He also has an Executive Master's in Healthcare Administration from the University of North Carolina in the United States. Meanwhile, PhilHealth and the Department of Health or DOH welcomed the appointment of Mercado. Health Secretary Chodoro Herbosa, who also chairs the PhilHealth Board of Directors, said he looks forward to working with Mercado. In a separate statement, PhilHealth vowed to extend full support as he takes the helm of the agency. PhilHealth added that with Dr. Mercado's solid experience in the medical field and proven leadership and management expertise, the state insurer is confident that through his leadership, PhilHealth will continue to successfully carry out the mandate of the National Health Insurance Program and fulfill the aspirations of universal health care for the benefit of all 115 million Filipinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Tuesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. convened a meeting at Malacañang Palace in Manila to get updates on the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA's Comprehensive Traffic Management Plan or CTMP. Other officials present at the meeting were Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla, Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan, and Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista. The MMDA, composed of the 17 local government units or LGUs and concerned government agencies, approved in November of 2022 the CTMP, a 5-year action plan which aims to ease traffic congestion in the National Capital Region or NCR, the country's economic and business center. In the 23.8-kilometer EDSA alone, there are at least 400,000 vehicles passing daily from Caloocan City to Pasay City, but its carrying capacity is for 300,000 vehicles only, MMDA data last year showed. The CTMP establishes an inclusive, people-oriented, sustainable mobility system by optimizing transportation infrastructure and implementing an effective traffic management strategy. It covers 12 traffic management strategies, including the urgent and continuous improvement of 209 identified traffic bottlenecks, especially the 42 major or priority intersections, 64 road segments, and 7 areas. Other strategies include the improvement and upgrading of the traffic signal system, further improvement of intersections and traffic corridors, and enhancement of intelligent transportation system. The 5-year action plan also seeks the strengthening of traffic regulation and enforcement of road safety, promotion of active transportation, and development of a comprehensive traffic management database. The CTMP recommends the strengthening of MMDA's capacities in traffic management, enhancement of MMDA's external coordination with traffic management organizations, promotion of comprehensive transportation or traffic management planning by LGUs, and strengthening of the transportation network.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other Malacañang news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. appointed retired Major General Isagani Neres as the new head of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin confirmed Neres' appointment in a text message to Palace reporters. Neres, a member of the Philippine Military Academy or PMA Maharlika class of 1984, is also a lawyer. In 2022, President Marcos tapped Neres as Undersecretary for Police Affairs of the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Military Affairs. Neres served in various capacities in different units of the Philippine National Police or PNP, such as the Police Anti-Crime Emergency Response and the Directorate for Integrated Police Operations Eastern Mindanao. He was also part of the PNP Special Action Force, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Task Force, and the PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group. Neres previously served as the chief of the Baguio City Police Office and became Chief Superintendent of the Cordillera Police Regional Office.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday recognized outgoing Thai ambassador to the Philippines, Tal Trisorat, for his role in strengthening bilateral ties between the Philippines and Thailand. During a farewell call on the president in Malacañang, the chief executive said cooperation between the two Southeast Asian neighbors experienced significant progress, particularly in post-pandemic recovery, economic policies, and diplomatic engagement during the Thai envoy's tour of duty in Manila. For his part, the Thai envoy said he appreciated his very fruitful and rewarding time in the country. Manila and Bangkok have signed 54 bilateral agreements covering various sectors including air services, agriculture, the abolition of entry visas, tourism, and technical, scientific, and cultural cooperation. Both countries also agreed on illicit trafficking prevention, trade and industry, and defense logistics. In 2023, Thailand was the Philippines' seventh major trading partner, eighth largest export market, and sixth largest import supplier. Total trade between the two nations amounted to $10.81 billion with $2.93 billion in Philippine exports and $7.87 billion in Philippine imports. The Philippines and Thailand are marking the 76th anniversary of diplomatic relations this year.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Thursday announced that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. extended the term of Philippine National Police or PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil by 4 months. In a news release, the Presidential Communications Office or PCO said, the President approved the extension of Marbil's government service through a memorandum dated February 4, 2025, signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Marbil was supposed to retire on February 7th when he reaches the mandatory retirement age of 56. The chief executive recently hinted at extending Marbil's term to ensure stability during the upcoming midterm elections. Marbil, the 30th PNP chief, is a member of the Philippine Military Academy or PMA's Sambisi class of 1991. He took command of the top police post on April 1st, 2024. Marbil previously headed the PNP Directorate for Comptrollership and served as the Regional Director of Police Regional Office Region 8 or PRO 8 and as the Director of the Highway Patrol Group or HPG.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. graced the opening plenary of the 2025 Open Government Partnership or OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting or APRM at the Grand Hyatt Manila in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig. In his keynote address, the President urged the stakeholders to become advocates of accountability by being part of the global commitment to open governance. President Marcos said open governance is key to attaining prosperity, stability, and security, and called for strong collaboration through impactful dialogues, concrete action, and genuine support. The regional meet, which runs from Wednesday to Friday, features high-level roundtable discussions on advancing open government and addressing regional challenges through the sharing of best practices across the Asia-Pacific region. Participating at the OGP APRM are over 800 government officials, civil society leaders, and policymakers from more than 40 countries. The OGP is a multi-stakeholder initiative that includes 75 countries and 150 local governments, representing more than 2 billion people and thousands of civil society organizations that advocate transparent, participatory, inclusive, and accountable governance. Let us listen to the keynote address of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
On behalf of our proud and grateful nation, I welcome all of you to our country for the 2025 Open Government Partnership Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. We are proud to be amongst the 8 founding members of the OGP in 2011, who made a bold commitment to ensure that governments around the world are transparent, accountable, and participatory. 14 years later, it is our distinct honor to host, for the first time, this event of high significance and relevance. This momentous occasion testifies to how we have embraced open governance as part of our national identity under a bagong Pilipinas. This is complemented by our sincerest efforts to make government processes more responsive, inclusive, and transparent. In fact, our socio-economic transformation blueprint, the Philippine Development Plan of 2023 to 2028, identifies OGP as a key mechanism to deepen participatory governance. By actively involving our citizens in the decision-making process, we establish their significant influence on policy development as it should be. We are pleased to have the DBM Secretary, Amina Pangandaman, as the Philippine OGP Chairperson. She has been instrumental in pushing our open government agenda further. And in the true spirit of the OGP, I'm also pleased to have our civil society organization, or CSO partner, Malayang Lapian ng mga Kababaihan, or what we call Malayakap, led by Ms. Aurora Chavez, who sits and stands by the government side in these pursuits. With the signing of Executive Order Number 31 in June of 2023, we institutionalized the Philippine OGP as a multi-stakeholder partnership. Through this, local government units and civil society organizations are involved in the implementation of our commitment to open government and in the delivery of sustainable solutions on various social concerns. Today, we have 4,000 stakeholders from local government and civil society organizations all over the Philippines who have all pledged their commitment to open governance through our nationwide advocacy campaign called OG Pinas. The Philippines also pursued the Citizen Participatory Audit Program, Grassroots Participatory Budgeting, and Open Data Portal. These programs allow our citizens to participate in the governance process, enriching policy and program implementation. Through these efforts, we have been recognized globally. These initiatives stem from our belief that by creating spaces for civic engagement at all levels of our society, we can truly create transformative and impactful changes down to the grassroots level. We in government are keenly determined to sustain this momentum of best practices. However, our people can only truly participate in governance if they have access to information. This access is made possible by government transparency, digitalization, and the institutionalization of freedom of information through legislation, which is a constitutionally recognized principle. The Public Financial Management Reforms Roadmap of 2024 to 2028 that we launched in September of last year solidifies our dedication to the full digitalization of our bureaucracy. This budget blueprint will facilitate the automation of our public financial management, from planning and procurement to the monitoring and evaluation of how we spend public funds. We are now working on harmonizing our various budget management systems to eliminate redundancies and to achieve efficiency and accuracy in the management of our revenues and of our expenditures. On the other side of the equation, we enacted the historic new Government Procurement Act last year, bolstering our fight against corruption and red tape. Borrowing the words of the Budget Secretary, this is the biggest anti-corruption law in modern times. And how is that? This landmark law simplifies, improves, and modernizes the decades-old Philippine government procurement system. It enables open contracting, which requires the disclosure of data and documents at every stage of the procurement process. Representatives from civil society organizations will be invited to participate in that process, further strengthening their ability to monitor public fund expenditure and contract implementation. This new procurement law has already positioned the Philippines as a leading model of transparency in Asia and a pioneer in open governance in the world. Parallel to the reform of our procurement policy, we also leveraged on the latest technologies to further improve the Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, or what we refer to as PhilJEPS. Government agencies can just add to cart supplies and pay the same online. Motor vehicles are now available in the system, and we are adding more and more supplies in the coming months. This means that government agencies can now procure goods in a more efficient, streamlined, and cost-effective manner from the comforts of their offices, whilst being completely transparent to anyone, any citizen, and any member of government. I am certain that our dear foreign visitors and friends who traveled all the way from their home countries have many powerful stories to tell us as well. We look forward to hearing your experience, to learn from your best practices on fiscal transparency, digital governance, and climate resilience, among the other open government challenge areas. Beyond our variances in our approaches, our shared vision is clear-cut. We want every budget allocation, policy decision, and program implementation to involve public participation, all in pursuit to the empowerment and to the upliftment of our people. With this, I strongly call on all government agencies, local government units, and CSOs, as well as our international friends and partners, to let us continue to work hand in hand in this very important endeavor. Let us foster a deeper trust amongst each other that can only be earned through impactful dialogues, concrete action, and genuine support. So as we chart our course to a more open and dynamic Asia-Pacific, let us be reminded of the powerful role of collaboration, especially in addressing complex challenges of governance in this 21st century. May we see the grand opportunity we have today and use it to send a powerful message to the world that open governance is fundamental to prosperity, to stability, and to security in a rapidly transforming world. Join the conversation. Be advocates of accountability in your own communities. Be part of the global commitment to open governance. Let our initiatives honorably reflect the aspirations of our respective citizens. Thank you very much.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Thursday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. distanced himself from the ongoing impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte, emphasizing that the executive branch has no involvement in the matter. In a press briefing at Malacañang, the president maintained that both the House of Representatives and the Senate had no choice but to address the impeachment complaints. In light of the developments, President Marcos mentioned that he would be open to calling a special session of Congress should the Senate request it. On Wednesday, the House of Representatives voted to impeach Duterte, with 215 lawmakers signing to endorse the complaint to the upper chamber. The Senate, however, went on a break without tackling the impeachment bid. Let us listen to the press briefing of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. held at Malacañang Palace.
Well, the reason I called this press conference is that, first of all, I remember that over the Christmas holidays, I promised you that I will be more accessible to the press. And I am now fulfilling that promise. And because, to tell you the truth, I've been a little bit dissatisfied with the ambush interview. Kasi some of the things that we talk about are not simple na yung isang soundbite lang kuha na. Hindi pwede yun. So, so I thought that we should have a proper press conference where you can ask your questions, take your time asking the question, hindi tayo nagmamadali. And to continue that, I think I've asked Cesar to arrange that we do this at least once a month, unless there's something very, very important, like there is today. Now, I know I have been watching, of course, I've been watching the coverage on the impeachment proceedings in the different, both from the traditional media and social media. And maliwanag naman na marami kayong itatanong. Kaya sabi ko, hindi naman yung mga sagot ko hindi makukuha sa isang sentence lang. Kaya kailangan siguro gawin na natin to. And so anyway, so let's start a subject on the impeachment of Vice President Sara by the House of Representatives. Now, I think it is useful, siguro para maunawaan talaga natin ang mga pangyayari at bilang siguro parang paliwanag na rin doon sa mga tanong na nakikita ko sa mga commentator. Number one, maalala ninyo, nagsimula lahat ito nung I made the pronouncement, sinabi ko na ayaw ko yung sana wag na tayo mag-impeachment dahil madaming ibang trabaho at actually it's also not practical. At nung panahon na yon, nung una kong sinabi yun, wala pang nagfa-file ng impeachment. Kaya't sana, I was hoping na makumbinsi ko lahat ng kung sino man, wag na muna natin gawin ito. Kung talagang meron kayong paniniwala na kailangan gawin ito, wag naman siguro muna ngayon at marami pa tayong gagawin. Kaya't kung titignan naman ninyo, yung mga kaalyado ko sa House of Representatives, wala sa kanila ang nag-file. Wala sumunod naman nila sa hiniling ko sa kanila na wag silang mag-file ng impeachment dahil hindi magandang timing at saka marami pang problema. Ngunit, may ibang grupo, of course, the Makabayan group out of the House of Representatives, Senator Laila De Lima, the religious group nag-file ng 3. And if you remember, nung statement si JPE na sinasabi niya hindi pwedeng pigilin yan dahil may grupo na ayaw. I think he was referring to Iglesia ni Cristo. So sinabi niya, hindi naman natin pwedeng pigil dahil may grupo o may tao na ayaw yan. At sinabi ko sa inyo, nung tinanong niyo sa akin, sabi ko, I agree with him. Totoo. And if you remember, my words were this: they will not, once the impeachment complaints are filed, they have no choice. The House has no choice. The Senate has no choice. Kailangan nilang i-proseso ang impeachment complaint. And that's exactly what has happened. Once the impeachment complaints were filed, the House and the Senate, they have no choice. Nakatali na ang kamay nila. They have to do this. And they have to do it in recognition of the complaints that have been filed. So, yun ang nangyari ngayon. And that's why we have come to this point where the House has transmitted already the impeachment complaint to the Senate. We have heard some of the statements made by the Senate President as to how he is planning to handle it. So we will have to see because it is many, as you've heard before, and that we heard many times during the Corona trial, these impeachment trials are sui generis. And therefore, we have to be very clear how the rules are and how it will be conducted. Yun ang naalala ko because I was also in the House and I was in the Senate during the Corona trial. Kaya I have some understanding do sa mga procedure. But anyway, that's the way I see it. That's the way that happened, and now I'll open the floor to any questions of yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. First question, Ivan Marina, GMA7.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon.
While it is true na constitutional duty ng House na to act on the impeachment complaint, meron ho silang choice kung i-endorse nila o hindi. Diretsuhin ko na po yung tanong, did you have a hand in this impeachment?
No, the executive cannot have a hand in the impeachment. Walang role ang executive sa impeachment. Of course, did we discuss it with the Speaker? Did we discuss it with the other congressmen? Of course. And tinatanong, anong plano ninyo? Ano ba talagang gusto ninyong gawin? And that's it. Well, nandito na ito. Hindi na namin maiwasan.
But the conventional thinking, Mr. President, is that nothing comes to pass in the House without the President or without Malacañang's blessing.
Well, you give me too much credit. But again, what the House has done is clearly the mandate that they have been, the constitutional mandate that they have to proceed with the impeachment complaints. So that's why I think they're just following the procedure. Ang punot dulo nito na-transmit nila ang impeachment complaints sa upper house.
One last point from my end, Mr. President. Kapansin-pansin na unang pumirma sa endorsement ng anak ninyo. Did he seek your advice on this, and what did you tell him?
Of course, he did. And I said, it was very simple, but I told him. And he said, you know, mukhang magpipirmahan na. What's your opinion? What I should do? And I told him. I said, the process is begun. It has parang batas yan eh. When you're in the legislature, when you file a bill, okay, House Bill number 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Pag file mo niyan, that bill takes a life of its own. Kahit anong gawin ng congressman na nag-file o senador na nag-file, kahit ayaw niya yung mga changes na magagawin doon sa kanyang bill, wala na siyang magagawa. Because the bill is going through the process as it should. And part of that process will be amendments, etc., additions, all that. The impeachment complaint is exactly the same. Once it has been filed, there is a procedure that needs to be followed already. So sabi ko, andyan na tayo, sabi ko kay Kong Sandro, sabi ko sa kanya, the process has already begun. So, it's your duty now to support that process. So do your duty. That's what I told you. Do your duty. You have to support the process. You are constitutionally mandated to carry out that process. And you are a congressman, so do your duty. That's what I told him. I didn't know you'd be the first to sign, though.
Marisol Halili, News 5.
Sir, magandang hapon po. Sir, you were very vocal before na ayaw niyo po ng impeachment because it's not the right time. But now na it's there already, paano niyo po ito nakikita na makakaapekto, especially dun sa mga ongoing priorities?
Well, it depends on how the Senate chooses to handle it. Hindi pa maliwanag kung ano yung plano ni Senate President at saka yung ating mga senador. Kung paano nila gagawin, if they will immediately convene, if they will still study the rules, if they are going to wait until the next session. So we'll have to wait until they decide on how it's going to be.
Pero just to be categorical about it, sir, don't you see this as a defiance in a way, considering na naging vocal na po kayo before that this is not the right time, and yet nag-proceed pa rin yung impeachment case?
No. I'm sure that the parties that filed the impeachment cases felt strongly about it, and despite my importunings and expressing my opinion that we really would rather not have the impeachment, they continue to do that. So, it's not defiance. May ganyan ang kanilang paniniwala. Sa kanilang paniniwala, kailangan gawin ito. Kahit na sinabi ko na sana wag na, hindi pwede, hindi namin pwedeng palampasin to. Ganun ang thinking nila. So, tinuloy nila. And I don't view that as a defiance. I view that as they're expressing what they feel to be right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Janelle Maribohok, UNTV.
Sir, other issue. Sir, ano po yung nasa likod ng bigla ang pagpapalit ng liderato po ng PhilHealth at ano po ang inyong direktiba sa bagong PhilHealth President, sir?
Actually, kung titignan ninyo ang qualifications ni Dr. Mercado, he is very, very well versed in both hospital administration, insurance, and his whole life has been devoted to healthcare. And so, it was after nung nag-oath taking kami, matagal kami nag-usap. Sabi ko, baliktad, hindi ko siya ina-advise, he's the expert. So tinanong ko siya, ano sa palagay mo ang kailangan natin gawin? And we went, pareho kami, immediately napunta yung usapan sa digitalization. Kasi maganda naman ang serbisyo ng PhilHealth, ngunit yung pag-process ng ng claim, pag-apply, etc., hindi kinakamay pa rin. Kaya't napakabagal. And that's why that became a priority. But of course, beyond that, he has many other ideas on how to make the services of PhilHealth more inclusive, expanded, and again to give better coverage for different conditions for those who have. Those who will avail of the PhilHealth services and of their financial support.
Sir, nagre-resign po ba si...
At sinabi niya sa akin, sige, that's as far as I can tell you. Sabi, I'll go first, I'll go to say in a week's time, sabi niya sa akin, in a week's time, may bigyan kita ng report, much more detailed, kung ano sa palagay ko yung nakikita ko sa PhilHealth na pwedeng palitan, pwedeng palakihin, etc., etc.
Sir, may we know, nag-resign po ba si Rel Ledesma?
Well, yes, he left his position already. Sabi niya that nahirapan na rin yata siya sa with all of hindi siya sanay sa politika. Mandy Ledesma very much comes from the private sector, so I think he found the transition to be jarring, shall we say.
Thank you, sir.
Chona Yu, People's Journal.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, just would like to get your thoughts on Representative Marcoleta's statement that there is no such thing as the West Philippine Sea.
Okay. Okay, so he's expressing his opinion. When I see him, lulukuhin ko siya. He's a candidate, so he has to grab headlines, di ba? So tama yung ginawa na for a candidate. Ngayon, ever talking about him na. magaling talaga siya sa ganyan.
Sir, yung Chinese monster ship nasa West Philippine Sea for more than a month now, how are you going to respond to this? Will you change your approach? Kasi parang hindi naman umaalis doon sa area.
Well, we don't have the means na paalisin. Hindi naman, buti kung meron tayong aircraft carrier na may kasamang destroyer, frigate at saka submarine na papupuntahin natin doon para matulak silang palayo. Wala naman tayong ganun. Kung sa palakihan at paramihan lang ng barko, malayo tayo sa China. Pero ang policy naman natin is that we will just continue to defend our territorial, our sovereign territory and our territorial rights in the EEZ. Yun lang. Kahit ano pang ang iniisip na ano bang mission ng Coast Guard, ano bang mission ng Navy to protect the territorial integrity of the Philippines. So that's what they will do. They will continue to do that no matter what any other foreign power does. That is what we will do. When we detect the presence of a foreign vessel who is beginning to intrude or coming close already to our coastal waters, papupuntahan natin ang barko. And we will challenge them. And we will make sure that they know that this is what they are doing is illegal. Of course, they will counter, saying that they're doing regular peacekeeping law enforcement patrols. But they will always find, they will always find the Philippine presence. No matter what they do, kahit na kahit na banggain na yung barko natin, kahit na mag-water cannon sila, mag-laser sila, kahit kung ano pang gawin na, mag-block sila, laging nandyan ang Pilipinas. We will always be there protecting our territory. We will always be there making sure our fishermen are able to exercise their sovereign rights. Nandyan lagi. That's their mission. And if their presence helps to, kasi kung minsan napapaalis nga nila kahit yung malalaking barko, then better. Then then they will have achieved what they are supposed to do while they're patrolling our waters.
Sir, last na lang from me. Sir, last week you said na you had a deal with China. Nagbigay kayo ng kondisyon sa China na you will pull out the typhoon missile if and when China will stop its aggression. Nag-respond na po ba ang China about it?
No. No. I didn't expect them to either. Because, no, I didn't expect them to. And they haven't responded specifically. They've responded in general terms, saying that what they do is a lawful exercise in law enforcement and all that. But no, nothing specific on the missiles, nothing specific about the reduction of tension, the reduction of the aggressive moves, and nothing like that. Wala kaming napag-usapan na gano'n.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Alexis Romero, Philippine Star.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. No?
Yes,
Let me just go back to one of our interviews during one of your previous US visits sa Honolulu, Hawaii, when asked about the looming impeachment supposedly that time, no, against Vice President Sara Duterte, no. When asked, no, you told reporters, you told us, binabantayan namin ng mabuti. This was in Honolulu, Mr. President. Binabantayan namin ng mabuti because we don't want her to be impeached. She does not deserve to be impeached, so we will make sure that this is something we will pay very close attention to. So that time, apparently, you do not want her impeached. Given these recent developments, do you hold that stance still, or your position has changed?
It doesn't matter what I think. It will have to go to the procedure. It will go to trial, and we will have senator judges, and they will hear the case. The prosecutors will come from the House. There will be a defense panel, and it will be a trial. It doesn't matter what I think at this point. That was my opinion. That's my opinion when I was asked that. None of this had happened yet. But I have to keep reminding you, the executive wala kaming formal role in the entire impeachment process. The executive has no formal role. If ever there's an informal role, makausap ko yung speaker, makausap ko yung congressman, makausap ko yung senador, si SP, makausap ko. But that's about it. Pero they will decide how they will proceed. Not I don't think you can expect the congressman or the senator or the SP or the speaker to come to me. What do you want us to do? They know what they have their own way of doing things, and that's what they will implement. So siguro the most that a president can do, or any part of the department of the executive can do, is moral suasion. Wag na lang sana. Wala, that didn't work. Natuloy pa rin. So we follow the process.
Salamat po.
Yeah.
Raquel Bayan, Radyo Pilipinas.
Hello, sir. Sir, I know co-equal branch po natin dito po, sir. I know co-equal branch po natin, sir, yung Senate. But are you planning, sir, to, personally ask the Senate kung paano po nila i-handle yung impeachment para po tayo sa executive makapag-address?
Issue ng paano nila
Kung paano po nila i-handle once na ma-transmit na po sa kanilang impeachment para lang po tayo sa executive, malaman rin po natin kung paano yung gagawin nating adjustment doon sa possible effect po sa bansa
doon
nitong
sa
impeachment.
possible?
Possible effect po ng impeachment sa bansa.
It's not up, again, you should ask, now at least at this point it's in the Senate. You have to ask that from the Senate. If you're going to ask about the prosecution's case, I don't know if you'll get an answer right now because we've only just started, but they're the ones that you should be asking. From this point on, I'm just a very interested observer. But again, I don't appear, I will not be part of it. There will be no representation from the executive. Why should there be? So, wala talagang we leave it to Congress, now specifically the Senate, to exercise their own wisdom.
Eden Santos, Net 25.
Mr. President, sabi niyo po ang impeachment ay hindi makapagdudulot ng kabutihan sa buhay ng kahit isang Pilipino. Nung nag-ask po ng advice sa inyo si Congressman Sandro Marcos, as a father and as a father of this nation, hindi niyo po ba naisip, na-advisean siya na gawin kanyang duty para sa kapakanan at interest ng mas nakararaming mga Pilipino, at yung kung ano po yung standing nyo na sana ay wag matuloy yung impeachment?
The House is a collegial body. They decide as one. And that was what the House decided. He is a member of the House of Representatives. So, as a member of the House of Representatives, he has to do his duty. Whatever his opinions might be, he must do his duty. Even if he's hesitant, all this applies to not only my son, it applies to all the congressmen. Once na-file na yung impeachment complaint, gawin nyo na yung trabaho ninyo. Wala na silang choice. Yun ang tinutukoy ko, yung una kong statement tungkol dito. The Senate has no choice, the House has no choice. That's exactly what the situation is. Once the second that the complaint were filed.
Ang government po ba ay ready kung ano man po yung maging effect, implication nung sakaling matuloy po yung impeachment trial sa Senado? If in case po na may effect, kasi magtatrabaho po sila, baka maapektuhan yung kanilang...
Antayin natin kung ano yung gagawin nila. Because I don't know, hindi pala, wala tayong timetable, wala tayong paano yung pag-eco-conduct, what are the rules that will be followed, etc. Antayin natin. It's, again, it is up to them how they decide to have their trial. When they have their trial, what are the rules for the trial, how they will conduct it, etc., etc. So, who will be the presiding judge? If we have a senator judge, who will be the presiding? All of that.
Last na lang po, wala po bang plano ang ating Pangulo na pakiusapan po sila? Kayo po, wala po ba kayong plano bilang Pangulo ng ating bansa para pakiusapan mo sila na huwag nang ituloy yung impeachment dahil baka abala nga naman po sa trabaho ng ating gobyerno at syempre sa buhay at pamumuhay ng ating mga kababayan?
The Senate has no choice, the House has no choice. They have to do this now. Once the impeachment complaint was filed, tumakbo na ang proseso. At kung hindi nila ipatakbo yung proseso, then they are delinquent in their duties. That's why they just have. That's what I meant. The House has no choice. They have to proceed with the impeachment complaint. The Senate now has no choice. They have to try the impeachment complaint. So making pakiusap, doing that, it won't change anything. It won't change anything. They still have to have a trial.
Chona Yu, in People's Journal.
Sir, natapos na yung session kahapon ng Congress. Magpapatawag po ba kayo ng special session para so that the Senate can proceed with the impeachment
If the
trial?
senators ask for it, yes. Again, sila ang magde-decide. Hindi kami ang nagde-decide dito. If the Senate President calls me up on the telephone, the senators, kinausap ko yung mga senator kung pwede ba mag-special session. Sure, gagawin ko. Pero kung wala silang request na ganun, ibig sabihin may iba pa silang ginagawa. They're not yet ready.
Wala pang request ngayon, sir.
How?
Wala pang request as we
Napakaaga
speak.
naman, they just got it yesterday.
Thank you, sir.
Oo.
Ann Soberano, Bombo Radio.
Sir, good afternoon. Just want to get your thoughts lang, sir. May kumakalat kasing mga issue din na may mga kapalit na ayuda po. Yung mga pumirma pong mga congressman sa impeachment ay binigyan po daw ng ayuda. Your thoughts on this? Baka sakali, sir, na diversionary tactics or they wanted to undermine yung credibility po ng House?
They're undermining the process. By saying that all this, that, yeah, I've heard also the assertion that may ganon. I don't think so. Overwhelming ang boto ang pumirma. At yung sa ano ba yung pumirma 215. Ang pagkaintindi ko that meron pang mga congressman na gusto sanang pumirma pero out of town. So hindi sila makapunta para pumirma. In fact, nagtatanong ang iba kung pwede e-signature. Mukhang hindi pwede kasi kailangan ka sa harap ng section at saka isusumpa at saka naka-notarize. So, but I don't think that kind of two-thirds of the Senate, 306 sila, they got 215. So just a little bit over two-thirds, hindi mo makukuha sa ganong klaseng sistema yan. I know. I've been in Congress. I don't think that way of operating would have worked. Certainly not to the extent that you get 215 signatures.
Okay. Ana Badjo, GMA News Online.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, may we just get your thoughts on the statement of Representative Paulo Duterte that the impeachment was just an abuse of power and political persecution?
What else would he say? Alam mo naman sabihin niya, tama lahat yan. Dapat talaga siya. It's nothing surprising. We've heard these statements from Congressman Pulong before. I just see his reaction to that. But by Pulong Duterte about Sara Duterte, so not exactly surprising. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have Richmond Quevedo from Tribune.
Sir, may I ask you, do you agree that somehow your opinions or statements has influenced certain members of Congress? Like somehow, sir, parang reverse psychology, like sending a kind of signal?
Well, it did because none of, like I said, wala naman sa yung sasabi kong kaalyado namin sa House ang nag-file ng impeachment. Kasi yan ang pakiusap ko sa kanila, wag na kayo mag-file ng impeachment. So hindi sila nag-file ng impeachment. Ang nag-file ng impeachment, ibang grupo. Hindi mo masasabi yung grupo yung kaalyado ko. So they just did what they felt was needed to be done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, Heidi Sampang, DZAS.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I know nag-i-start pa lang naman po ito, pero gaano po kaya tayo kahanda sa economic impact po ng impeachment trial at posible po kasi itong maka-slow down sa atin pong momentum?
I doubt it very much. Hindi naman siguro. Wala akong nakikita magiging effect na gano'n. Basta't patuloy yung ang ating pinaplano, lahat ng ating mga strategy tungkol sa investment, tungkol sa mga bagong structural changes na lagi kong pinag-uusapan. But yun lang naman ang tinitignan ng investor rin na. So I don't think it will have any effect.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Julie Aurelio, Inquirer.
Good afternoon, sir. If I may recall your statement last year, prior to the filing of the impeachment complaints, you said that you didn't want impeachment complaints to be filed because it would only distract legislators from doing their jobs. It will not serve or benefit any Filipino. Given that, what's your guidance to Congress so that they won't be?
I do not give guidance to Congress.
But how do you solve how do you solve the problem of not distracting them from their job?
Again, you give me far too much credit that I can tell congressmen to do this and to do that. I cannot. I do not give guidance to Congress. We are independent of each other. Of course, we talk to each other about all kinds of things. But hindi ko kaya sasabihin, gawin mo ito, gawin mo yan, gawin. Hindi ko kayang gawin yun. And so I don't even attempt to do that. So let's be very clear there. Sure, when I'm talking to them, they ask my opinion. I give them my opinion. But it's up to them to take it or not. You cannot call it guidance.
But are you not afraid that it might derail your effort or it might derail priority measures in Congress because
because
the Senate will be busy with the impeachment. So
slowly, please. I cannot understand.
Are you not afraid that you were afraid before that the impeachment process might derail or might sidetrack the priority measures of your administration, given that this is already happening? Are you not fearful or afraid that it might actually come to pass? Your fears from before.
What did we talk about 80% of the time today? Impeachment. It happened already. It's happening already. Imbis na pag-usapan natin ang agrarian reform, imbis na pag-usapan natin ang climate change, we're talking about impeachment. So what you're asking is I'm not afraid it's about to happen. It's happened. Look at today. Today, we're talking about impeachment the whole time.
Okay. Last na lang, sir. When you gave those, when you uttered those words that you're not in favor of impeaching the vice president, that happened when it was not yet filed. You made that clear, very, very clear. And yet, you did say that it is Congress's constitutional duty to let the process go, to let the impeachment process proceed as constitutionally mandated. However, the outcome is actually contrary to what you actually want, which is not to impeach the vice president.
No, where is the contrary? Where is it contrary to what I said?
Because you don't. Your thoughts was you do not want the vice president to be impeached. That's what you said before.
So that's
given
my
given that. Do you feel that don't you have any ill feelings towards congressmen who led to the transmittal of the impeachment articles to the Senate?
The congressmen with who I'll just repeat it again. Lahat ng natatawag kong kaalyado ko sa House of Representatives, wala sa kanila ang nag-file.
But they signed it, sir.
Huh?
But they signed it.
Because it's already there. Nandyan eh. Ano pang gagawin nila? And there was a very clearly a large bloc in Congress, at least 215, who wanted to sign the impeachment. They did not file a case because I asked them not to. Paikot-ikot na tayo. I'm sorry?
Mr. President, did you not ask them not to sign the impeachment complaint? Since sabi niyo po na napakiusapan niyo sila.
Nobody filed. None of the members of the parties that we are in alliance with filed an impeachment complaint.
Yes po, sabi niyo napakiusapan niyo sila na wag mag-file kaya wala pong nag-file na kaalyado ninyo. Hindi niyo rin po ba sila napakiusapan na wag mag-sign dun sa itinransmit sa Senado
para
sa
wala na akong pakialam doon. Tapos na, it's already in the House. That's the House decision. Yung congressman ang magde-decide kung ano yung gagawin niya. Dahil pananagutan nga ng House of Representatives yan. You keep, there's this constant implication that I am somehow giving instructions and making utos do this and do that and do that. That's not the case at all. That's not how it works, not at all.
You just heard the press briefing of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, has launched a full investigation into the disappearance of 28-year-old Filipino seafarer Ralph Bobiles while on board MV Prestige Ace on December 5th last year. In a media briefing Thursday at the DMW office in Makati City, Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said they have suspended the license of the Parola Maritime Agency Corporation, the manning firm responsible for his deployment, for failing to provide a sufficient explanation of the incident. Kakdak said the DMW was neither provided with any investigation report nor a captain's report on the incident. He added that when the DMW asked for the presentation of Bobiles' co-seafarers, as MV Prestige Ace has an all-Filipino crew, only 5 out of the 16 seafarers were presented to the department. Kakdak said the ship had just departed from Veracruz port in Mexico and was en route to Baltimore, Maryland in the United States when Bobiles vanished. However, the ship's crew failed to report his disappearance to U.S. authorities upon arrival in Baltimore, raising serious concerns about possible negligence. Kakdak, meanwhile, rejected speculations that Bobiles may have taken his own life, as no concrete evidence supports this claim. He said the seafarer had spoken with his wife shortly before his disappearance and had expressed excitement about his upcoming promotion from cadet to ordinary seaman, which would have secured his position in the company. Kakdak said the recently passed Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers mandates that families of missing seafarers must be given access to investigative reports and all relevant information regarding their loved one's disappearance. The DMW has vowed to pursue all legal avenues to ensure accountability and justice for Bobiles and his grieving family as the agency takes immediate action to help the family, including his 3 young children aged 5 to 8 years.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, on Friday announced that Mitsubishi Motors Corporation, or MMC, has pledged to invest around 7 billion pesos in the Philippines in the next 5 years. According to the PCO, the investment commitment was discussed when MMC President and Chief Executive Officer, or CEO, Takao Kato made a courtesy call on President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at Malacañang Palace in Manila on Thursday. President Marcos welcomed the MMC's plan as this will create more jobs for Filipinos. During the meeting, Kato discussed the MMC's expansion plan in the Philippines, including adding a new production model at its Mitsubishi Motors Philippines Corporation, or MMPC plant facility in Laguna Province. The president said the MMC would be included in the government's Revitalizing the Automotive Industry for Competitiveness Enhancement, or RACE program, a new proposed version of the Comprehensive Automotive Resurgence Strategy, or CARS program. President Marcos Jr. hoped MMC's inclusion would help in its expansion plan. Kato said the Philippines is MMC's most important investment in Southeast Asia, citing its good and stable economy. In a Facebook post, the chief executive said, "The MMC is a strong partner in the Philippines' journey to strengthen the automotive industry and empower Filipino workers. MMC is a multinational automobile manufacturer founded in April of 1970, maintaining production facilities in Japan, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, China, Russia, and the Philippines. MMPC, on the other hand, is a 100% wholly owned subsidiary of MMC, which began operations as Chrysler Philippines Corporation in 1963 as the assembler and distributor of Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth passenger cars. MMPC has a manufacturing plant located in Santa Rosa, Laguna Province with 50,000 units of annual production capacity and a potential to expand to 100,000 units per year.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.